All right. Today we're going to be having a conversation with John Allcorn of the John Allcorn Show. Welcome, John.
How's it going?
Doing good. So, you have a podcast. Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Really, the biggest part is obviously learning after the season to be like, what the heck do you do, right? Because especially if you're doing an audio podcast, like y'all are in a different niche where there's no season where you don't talk about God, right? So
Right.
It's a different story. But when you're just a sports thing, kind of have to branch out a bit, especially when you start on YouTube. You really have to convince YouTube or the audience to stay, and how does that benefit them? Because once you hit that benchmark of like 1,000 subscribers or more, then it'd be totally different. But it's been passionate about football for a while. I'm terrible at math. I barely passed high school because I was terrible at math, but I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
I'm a 1, 2, 3 girl, not an ABC girl. That's what I say.
I don't think I was either. I really didn't care in high school, to be honest with you. I had an attitude, but football, math always came to it, and I would always do my research whenever it came to it. And I remember just even during COVID, when obviously people didn't have jobs, it was hard to find a job. Right before the draft, I have it in my Google Docs file where I wrote a summary of each team's needs for like the draft or free agency. By each position, you need a corner, you need a fullback, you need a safety. Really kind of breaking down that detail. That was really important.
That's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, your podcast is really, well, it is a combination. I mean, you're such a strong, beautiful Christian. I know you from our church, and you tie that into NFL, and I think it's such an amazing combination. And you're what am I thinking? Well, I'm thinking we're stronger Christians than NFL, but you know NFL so much. But I also think that you're a really strong Christian, so you're maybe more balanced. I don't know. I have no idea what.
Oh, I'm the biggest sinner he knows. Let me make that very clear. I have never, and I really hope I never put a persona that mine is, I'm the biggest sinner he knows. And I'm literally, to be honest.
We all are,
Yeah,
my friend.
Nobody's perfect. So,
no.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that today. It's like, oh, nope. I had the blessing of talking to my youngest son today, who I haven't really been talking to a whole lot today. And we just both talked about how we're sinners and we're not perfect. And it was so beautiful. And love that boy.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, let's go on to what made you love the sport of NFL. Now, did you grow up being a fan of the game, or did you just catch it later in life?
Or did your dad watch it all the time, and did you just kind of foster into it? Or
honestly, up until 8 years old, it was just maybe I occasionally play like a video game here and there. Didn't really do much. Right, this is like the early 2000s. There really wasn't like any social media to be able to watch or understand football. Like YouTube didn't come around until 2005, so I was like 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That was my mom's fault actually, because she was watching football. She's a Cowboys fan. She was a UT fan. It's like I didn't really care, but she allowed me. It's like, oh, I get to stay up on a school night. I don't care if it's pickleball. I'll stay up on a school night and not go to bed. Turned out it wasn't pickleball.
Excuse me, John. They did not have pickleball back then.
But shows you what I know, okay? But it was called football. I had no idea what it was. All I know is it's a football. You throw it, and who knows, right? I mean, especially if anyone's familiar with the game. I mean, USC was about to win 3 straight, and that doesn't happen in college football ever. And to be able to do that with what Vince Young said the year before is, oh, we're going to come back, we're going to win it all, and we're going to kick their you-know-what. And Mac Brown's like, shut up, don't say that. Well, it ended up working out in their favor, obviously. But just seeing that I thought was really cool. But then obviously started playing the Madden games and following the career of John Madden to know a little bit more about his career and really the impact and how without him they wouldn't really have Fox Sports at all, or sports broadcasting wouldn't have been as big as it is today.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite team right now? I mean, what's your favorite college team, and then what's your favorite NFL team?
college is Texas. It has been almost 20 years. The Rose Bowl. Again, I picked the team because that was my mom's team. I didn't know anything about it, right? It's not like I could do research on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Those didn't even exist for the public at the time.
Yeah.
So, but really just that was her team. So UT been for almost 20 years. We've been through a lot of stuff at Texas. We've had some pretty bad teams. We haven't been good until recently, right? Because when you're in middle school, right, kids are cruel. They'll say whatever, whether it's appropriate words or not. So when your team loses against Bama 15 years ago, the kids are all talking trash the next day. I'm like, hey, we lost fair and square. But I'll say the Bengals for the NFL and the Cavs fan for basketball. Because, again, I was a young kid just scrolling through Facebook, and I saw some guy, like some nobody named LeBron James at the time. And I just like, oh, that guy seems cool. Didn't know anything about all that team. That team has not done well either in recent years. So, again, even if I know this is not possible, but if all of my teams could win in 1 year, that would be great. But as we know as sports fans, that never happens.
Well, we can pray, John. We can pray about that. That is amazing.
All I care about is UT winning it next year. Because if they win in January, that's 20 years after the first time. So I would be just fine.
Right. So did your mom go to UT? Is that why she was a fan, or?
No, she actually grew up in McAllen. Her and her mom grew up in McAllen, super, like a really small area, right? It was so small that they still had a Blockbuster Video there when I was 18. So he went there for 18 before. Obviously, now it's like a T-Mobile or probably some donut shop. No, she grew up in McAllen. Obviously, you get older, graduate early. You want to get out of a small town, right? Because a small town, there isn't much opportunity. She came up here, did a little bit of ACC, and did a little work like UPS or something like that back in the day.
Back in the day.
That's it, like back in yeah. But no, I guess she just started watching it because I guess other friends or family or something like that was a big fan, and it kind of just got passed down. I got my jersey in there for this year, and if you're a true football fan, there's a thing called the College Football Commandments, and one of them really it's just made up, but really it's like until that quarterback is starting, I don't wear the jersey. So I bought it last year when Ewers got hurt, but then Ewers came back. I can't wear the Archmate, so you have to wait and sell. But it would feel really good for them to win, not from a point of like I don't idolize a team, right? Like I don't go to bed thinking, oh my god, like. But I think sports is just a good opportunity to hang around people. Yeah. Like even earlier, I was just getting
it's a community,
drink of the.
Right? It's such a community.
Yeah.
It's like church, same thing, right?
I was just at the Dollar Tree getting a Powerade, and I was talking to the guy with the Raiders shirt. I got his number. We can talk some sports. So that's just kind of like a quick thing to do, and you just never know where that can go.
Yeah, for sure. You never know what's going to happen at the Dollar Tree.
I know, but yeah, a lot of things have happened at the Dollar Tree, but definitely not that. Let's just say,
yeah.
So yes, I remember I was doing my graduate work at UT in 95, 96, and football was not a thing there. I mean, it was just not. Yeah, it was just not. And then I missed the boat when it got really good, and getting tickets, never had that, never did it. Anyway, my bad. Yeah.
No, you're good, man. I was actually at a friend's house the other day, and he had he's almost in his 40s, but he goes to our church, and he had a hat not a year or so after Mac Brown got the job at Texas back in the late 90s. And I'm like, you can tell the hat's like 30 years old. I'm like, that was just super cool to be able to meet Mac Brown as he got the job at Texas before we knew getting one of the best recruits at the time in the Big 12 and being able to win a championship and obviously get somewhere after Earl Campbell left to go to Tennessee. But
pretty cool.
Oh, pretty cool. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So wait, did we talk about your NFL favorite team yet? Because I'm going to tell you the Green Bay Packers are my favorite team.
I thought it was the Jets. I was confused. No, I was kidding.
Green Bay. There we go.
That's fun. Right during a thing, my camera. Okay, well, that is very awkward. Give me a second. This is not – I know y'all don't want to edit, but Oops.
I know we don't like to edit.
No worries.
We're gonna keep it the way it is. It's
yeah,
great.
We're gonna keep it unfiltered.
Okay. Yeah, the Bengals. They are a very terrible team
Bengals,
right now.
no.
Cincinnati.
Because they are as cheap as any team in the league. They are basically, and in quick terms, they drafted a player that, you draft a player in the first round. They haven't paid him yet. And as y'all know, if you watch football, as y'all do, training camp's already started.
Yes.
So when you draft a player, you have a certain amount of time to sign him. If you don't, then he can't play the season. But this owner for the Bengals has been known not to pay his players.
Really?
And that just reminds me of a biblical story. I don't know biblical story specifically, but in the Bible, how you don't really realize what you have or don't care because of your status. You don't care what you have until it's gone. And even then, it's pride. It's been just like Moses. He had pride. God really wanted to kill Moses in the Bible. I mean, literally, we go back. There's a time because Moses wasn't listening, really doing what he needed to do. Again, obviously, but translated, if we do what if we don't follow the people that help us to get to where we are, then you're ended up in disaster. And that's in Christian terms, that's where the Bengals are right now.
Interesting. I love it. Yeah. Well, okay. So I do want to share a story with you. And we did talk about this at church today. But so Greg and I were back in Wisconsin. That's my hometown. My family's there. We went to a Green Bay Packer. We were home for my sister's birthday. We were going to surprise her for her birthday. Well, that kind of got let out. And so that didn't really happen, but it was nice to be with everybody. It was still good. And then I told Greg, I said, you know what? I am going to try to get us tickets to a Green Bay Packer game because
up on Lambeau Field.
Yeah, Lambeau Field. I've never been there all the years. I grew up there, left there to go to California, but still, I'm a Green Bay Packer. I'm a homegrown Wisconsin girl, right? Cheesehead and all of that. I claim it all. And we ended up going to the game and they were playing. It was
Houston Texans.
October 20th of last year, the Houston Texans. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And we got some seats in the end zone. And this is the best game because I have friends here in Texas that are Texans fans, right?
We're getting texts from them and everything like that. Also, the tailgate before there was super cool. Oh my gosh! So there was so much food and so many different people out there in front, and just and
they were friendly.
They were so friendly,
and they would invite us in. It was it was just so good.
Yeah,
I took hot dogs hoping to find a grill. Hot dogs and buns, and I didn't even need them. We found a barbecue guy that was selling barbecue for a charity, and we just dropped money in his thing, and I gave him my hot dogs. Right?
Cooked them up, yeah.
It was just so fun, and
got there for 2 hours at the tailgate, and then started at the game, and then the game was awesome. So.
We're at the game, and it's open stadium, and the sun is beating on us, and it was 74 degrees. In October in Wisconsin, which is unheard of. And I actually got a suntan that day on my face, but I do want to show you a clip. Are you ready for this clip?
I'm ready. Come on.
All right, let's do it.
Me too. So
yeah. So we were down one, few minutes left. The Packers, they set up to kick a field goal, pulled back for some reason, which I'm still not clear about. You might know more, John, than I do about that. And then they reset and they kicked it and it went in. I mean, we were all kind of panicking. What are they doing?
I think it was a flag or something like that. So
okay. Anyway, and it went in and we ended up winning. It was just crazy. I love it. Yeah,
super.
It happens a lot, especially with depending on what you're playing with the wind, or mentally you're just distracted or something like that, or you said, most likely it was a flag because it would have to be because there's a flag or mentally, because the other third option would only be the defense would do it because then you're trying to psych out the kicker. Oh, I'm going to miss this kick, or they call it a timeout. We're down by one, and that's a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely wasn't that. So yeah. But oh my gosh, what a great game.
Yeah.
And we were so blessed to be there. And
won't forget that experience. So
yeah, never forget.
Want to do it again someday. That'd be cool.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah, I'm ready. So good. Okay, well, all right, let's go ahead to what made you want to start a podcast?
I was doing security at a type school, like an art school type thing years ago. I think right before, 6 months to a year or so, right before COVID was a thing. I came into Texas before the lockdown. And a lot of them, I just assumed, like a lot of people did, that when you start a podcast, you have to have all this fancy equipment and studio. That's obviously not true. Like, you do it with your computer and that's it. You can do it with your phone and that's it. So I just started doing it with my phone and kind of worked out. At the time it was called Anchor. Now it's like Anchor by Spotify. Then you just put it towards your phone. I just recorded it in my closet, recorded it in my apartment at the time, and obviously it sounded like a nervous high school kid trying to ask out his crush because you're studying every other word. You have no idea what you're saying because it's your first time doing it. It's not like anyone's watching at the time, so what does it matter, right? I'm just starting out on my podcast at 11 o'clock at night on Thursday, so it's not like anyone's watching. It's audio, and I didn't know what I was doing. So you could tell at first I didn't know what I was doing, and I think just because you have the knowledge, even if you do it for 5 years or whatever, you're gonna stutter and make those little mental mistakes, whatever it may be. So, but
like anything, yeah, but it's like anything you do, you get more comfortable with it. I know you're doing media stuff at the church now. I'm sure. I mean, I think I remember your first day, if it was your first day, if I got that right. But man, you took an amazing video of opening the front doors and people walking in. That was insane. That was so beautiful.
I think people need to realize, right? Like when you take a photo or a video, that can tell, like, I guess, the story in itself. A lot of people, like y'all know, are on social media doom scrolling, probably watching something they're not supposed to. So if somehow that can get into their FYP of like, hey, what their perception of church was or is in their vision, which it's really not. We know what church is actually supposed to be about.
Yeah.
And I think that would be cool. Because a lot of times when people go to churches, rather the size or how big it is, they don't feel welcome or important, or people don't care about them because they're not within a certain status. So, I mean, again, with that, they don't use everything we use, but I think it's still a good opportunity for other teams of the dream team to get recognized. Because you see the worship team, you see all these other teams. What about the people on the doors, the greeters, or the ushers? We want to make sure each of them feel important.
Yeah, and I think we do a really good job of that. And and I hate when I maybe drop the ball and don't realize, and I go later, I'm going, oh gosh, maybe I should have done that differently. But that we have high standards at that church, at our church, City Reach, and man, it is high standards for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Do you want to move on to the next question, Greg? What do you think?
Yeah. So you have a deep love for Christ. We know that from the podcast and everything, and your church attendance, and you helping out. And did you grow up being taught about Christianity?
Really, there's a lot of churches that fail. To be honest, I think a lot of churches focus on, I think, preaching the word, but not how to do it. They talk about it, but don't really give us the understanding or the deep definition of Christ died on the cross. So like, okay, you talk about that and move on, but you don't really give us the significance of he was nearly butt naked. He was nearly bleeding sweat, like literally bleeding like crazy. He had thorns going into his head and all of that, knowing
pain all over.
Reject him and go straight to hell. And I think that's what we need to understand. And then doctors don't do that. But I really grew up in a lot of youth group, right? I did went to a Methodist church back in the day. Wasn't the fan of like the regular church itself, but like we had good youth leaders and pastors, and that definitely helped out a lot because they would keep me in check. Because I mean, you would do dumb stuff in high school, like getting caught across the street vaping during your school day, and you're like, "Oh, that red car looks familiar." Well, it's youth night. I'm like, "Oh, no big deal." But when a woman gives you a certain look when you did something wrong, you're in trouble. So just don't say anything. She gives me this look like, what are you up to? I'm like, I have no idea what you talked about. But those kind of people that were definitely there, and I've definitely been thankful for that. And the one thing that I do like that some of us do with the leaders at City Reach is like staying in touch and keeping accountable. Because there's a lot of churches I've been a part of, like people think the size always means that they're being successful. We have to look at the fruit. You can look at Carl Lynch's church at the time. It was growing. Obviously, he repented and all that, but like it was growing. But look at the fruit of behind the scenes, and I think at least I feel like that's the one thing that City Reach seems to do pretty well.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So when did you actually come to Christ? Did you have this moment of when you really said, "I'm so ready"?
Yeah.
Or was it kind of more of a transitional experience?
Really, it was at first it was just a religion thing. Because when you're 7, like at least the viewpoint that I have, when you're 7, you don't understand at all what or who Jesus is or what he did for you. I just did it because I felt like I should. Because you're 7 years old. Like, do you really understand? You don't, because you're not going to tell a 7-year-old all of what Jesus went through, right? They still think that Santa Claus is real, the tooth fairy is a thing. Like, you don't want to, at 6, 7 years old, to tell them everything that Christ did, right? Because that's a lot to deal with. But wasn't really truly walking until probably about a year and a half ago. Because a lot of people think that they're walking, but no one cares what you have to say. You have to show with your fruit, right? They talk about the fruits of the Spirit all the time. And Judas talked about with his fruit. He said, Lord, I'll walk with you to the ends of the earth. And then he ended up betraying him, even though he could have been forgiven, and then ended up, well, we know what happened with Judas.
Yeah.
But they definitely have a lot of great men's groups at church for sure.
Yeah. So you talk about the fruit of the Spirit. Greg and I did a series maybe a month or so ago. It was like a 3-week series, and we really broke down what all those fruits truly mean and how we should respond according to those fruits. So if anybody wants to check that out, just get to our podcast. It's on wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find us at, with You Are Not Alone with Debbie and Greg Gold. So, but that was a really good series we did, and we really enjoyed that. And it was, good for me too. I got to kind of revisit some things that way. And I think that's what our faith is. Like, we feel like, we know this, but then we take steps back because we're sinners, and then we have to be reminded again. And so I think that's why our work, what we do, what you do, John, is really important.
Yeah, people need to really understand, just because that we talk about. That's why I'm always trying to do more of preaching that accountability. You can say, we can read it, we can study it, but we have to apply that with the accountability. Yeah. You see so many preachers out there that are preaching about the Word of God. Behind the scenes, they're cheating on the wife, or behind the scenes, they're doing this. So we really need those people to keep us grounded. But I think Pastor Chris said it last week in the message, like, when you sin and when you mess up, how much more faster do you go to Christ? Because the closer you are with Christ, the more the enemy's trying to get you away. Because if the enemy wasn't trying to attack you, then you got a lot more work to do than you realize.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. So, I mean, what does your relationship with Christ really mean to you?
Well, I just tell him how I feel, even if there's maybe certain words I need to work on not saying at all. But I think that's really just tell him how you feel. I mean, I think so many people say, like, come as you are. It's not once you're driving a Bugatti or you got a wife and a kid. Like, it's literally as you are. And I think people get that confused a lot. And I think really just tell them how I feel, but also at the same time, Pastor Chris says, not be led by your feelings. You're really telling them, I know you've provided before, even though the enemy's trying to say, this situation's worse than last time, which really, after you go through that, was it really as bad as you thought? Probably not. But the enemy is just a spiritual toddler. And I think once we understand what's from the enemy or what's from us, I think it's really, really fun.
Yeah. I think for me, my relationship with Christ, he changed my heart. He just changed my heart. And one day on our podcast, hopefully coming up here, we've got some. We do this little board thing we're going to talk about on our podcast, but I do want to share my testimony. And man, we've talked about it a little bit on our podcast and how I was 20 years ago, just insecure and worried about what people think and all these different things. And today, none of that matters. He's changed my heart, and I love people. And I just want to forgive people when there's wrong done, and there's just all those things that are in the Bible. And I mean, I wouldn't have my life any other way than living it with Jesus. I really wouldn't. That's just yeah.
You could try all the stuff that the world has to offer, but it's really just a bunch of nothing. It really doesn't. But it's literally just a bunch. I don't want to show my information on it, but yeah, it's really just a bunch of nothing.
A bunch of nothing.
Yes. That's all sin is. In the obviously, I'm not saying one sin is worse than the other, but some of the sin that does the most damage, people can't realize until after the damage has already been done, and that's really big. People need to really work on discerning for sure, because if you don't discern or really kind of see like what's going on, or at least think about it.
Yeah.
Or should I say being aware, at least to a certain extent, like, then you allow those things to correct you. And we got to be careful of who we hang out with, because we understand that music, that stuff can really influence you.
Yes, I know you've talked about that with music and videos and different things. And I've said before, I tell my kids, you know, what do I say?
Show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. I mean, it's so true. Just so true. I mean, you have Christian friends that, you know, are in church doing, you know, trying to do good by God. Not perfect by any means, but, you know, there is that underlying foundation, and they're, you know, it's just good. It's very good. Yeah. All right. So how do you incorporate God with the sports world?
Well, I mean, really, especially now, it's a lot easier, because if y'all have watched sports at all or seen highlights of the last few years, there's a huge revival going on. And people say they want to see revival. I'm like, well, we're seeing it right now, whether it's in movies or shows. Like, there's one actress, she plays in the Marvel universe, and she, for a while, quit acting because she felt like that was coming before her relationship with Christ. Like, God told her to go back into there, and that is planting those seeds. I think a lot of an industry that is about the opposite of Christ. And we're seeing a lot in sports all the time now, whether people were winning or losing, or when CJ Stroud, for example, was talking about Christ last year in an interview, when ESPN put up the clip, they took that part out. So that tells me where ESPN's heart is.
Right.
I cannot work for a company like that. But even that example, or when Texas beat Arizona State, even though that was targeting, but Texas won. Even after that, the guy was asking the Arizona State's running back, who literally won the game, can I pray for you? And I think that's really, really important. Viewers planting those seeds for those people. Obviously, now he's in the league, but it really, especially with a guy like Arch Manning, who's going to be your starting quarterback for the next 2 to 3 years, who's going to be playing with some of these guys in the league, planting those seeds is really, really important, especially being able to keep your composure and ego. And I think it's definitely been, I don't know why it's happening right now all of a sudden, right? I don't have an equation for why the revival's happening in sports, but it is a lot the last few years. And I think maybe COVID had nothing to do with it, but I think people coming together during that time, I think, was really important, especially with the DeMar Hamlin situation that I talked about before, where he literally died on the field. This is almost 3 years ago now in January. Right before the playoffs. So meaning whoever the Bengals or the Bills won the game, the Bengals got the short end of the stick because they also didn't finish the game. But meaning determining who's going to be seeded in the playoffs. He passed out like that, and there's people just standing in silence and praying, even though they probably don't believe in Christ or whatever it may be. I thought that was a really, really good tool to bring people together. And that, to me, really is what sports is supposed to be about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when people say I'm praying for you, I do hope they pray, and whatever their faith walk is, I think a prayer is important. A prayer is important. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter how deep their faith is. In my opinion, I'll take any prayer.
Yeah,
for sure. The one thing I try to do, because I forget to pray for people all the time, and
Hmm.
half the time people say I'll be praying for you, I'm like, are you really? Like, you're just saying that to make yourself feel better or whatever it may be. Like, that's why if someone is texting me something, I have to do a audio message right then and there, because I'll forget, or I have to pray for you right then, because I'll go 30 minutes from now or watching the UT game or whatever it may be, and I forgot to pray for that person. I don't even know what their prayer was about. And now you have to go back, like, what was that prayer about? Then it kind of shows that, at least for me, that I wasn't listening. So I have to do it right in there, because it's really hard to keep track. Because
I had that at church today with our team leader in the Welcome Center, and she had a couple things, and I go, well, I'll pray for this person, and I will pray about that thing for you. And then I come home, and then I have to think, and I'll think about it tomorrow when I do my prayer time in the morning. But there are times when if I'm at home and I have someone that says I need prayer, I will drop on my knees right there, and I will do it, because it's a place I can do it. I guess I could do that at church too. I don't know why I felt I couldn't.
Anywhere, yeah.
I know. You can pray anywhere. In your car, which I do.
Driving.
I know you do. Yeah. So anyway, prayer is so good.
Sometimes I'll do it at the gym, so it sounds like I'm huffing and puffing, but it's because I'll forget. Once you get in the zone at the gym, you're just thinking about that. Because if my mind starts going over here and here, then I'm distracted and I won't do the full workout. So it's just important to, at least for me, that's just how I do it, right? Because when you lead I think when you start to lead a small group, it really puts into a different perspective of, like, when I say that I'm going to be praying for you, I need to do that right then and there, because who knows, maybe that situation where you're about to go inside the courtroom, or it may be, sometimes that situation is urgent. And especially as a leader, it definitely puts into better perspective, because I'm not saying you're responsible for those people, but you're able to, I guess, stew it in your life. I
don't know. Yeah, you're to be there, I don't know, to support. I'm trying to think what's the right word for that, but I mean, God wants us to pray and lift up our people, and we're there to do it. So
there to support them.
Yeah. Okay, I got to ask you this question. I love this question. So your name is John. Were you named after the Apostle John in the Bible?
Thankfully, everything about him except the beheading, I think, is why I got my name. I'm gonna say, I think that's what it was. But no, it definitely was. I know, because that's my mom was definitely for the last. Yeah, she was saved at the time. She was been saved for a couple of years at the time, and so she decided to name me that. And I probably would have chose a different name, but that's just me being like, I probably would have named me after some Star Wars movie, but that's just who I am. So I'll probably name my kid after a Star Wars name, just cause. But again, that's just
Anakin is a cool name, I have to say.
Anakin.
Oh yeah. Just don't name your kid Luke and Leia. That'd be really, really weird. If you know.
We at one time, Mike and I, this is before kids, we had 2 cats we adopted them from a shelter, Luke and Lucy. I don't know why. Luke was, Skywalker, and Lucy was from Lucille Ball. I have no idea, but it was just kind of cute. Anyway. All right. So in getting to know you, you told us that you have lost some weight. So tell us about that and what role God had played in that piece for you.
It's putting those people in your life that will tell you like it is to get your hand out of your other mouth. I think, especially as men, like when we're called to, obviously women are called to lead too, but like men are called to lead their families and whatever else it may be, or preparing to eventually do that one day. I think it's really important, especially when you're running. That's a huge mental part. Because if you keep telling yourself, I can't do that, then you really gotta, there's no other option, right? If you quit, then you're essentially a failure. Especially as a man, like you don't have no option but to quit when you have a goal, right? Just because you didn't get the goal right then and there doesn't mean you failed. You only fail if you quit. And especially, I'm trying to learn as a man, if you're wanting a family one day, you can be, oh, babe, I want to quit that. You got bills, you got a kid to care for. What are you talking about? And I think just dealing with that mentality is really important. Especially when I run to the gym, I just stare at the carpet and keep running. If I look at that treadmill or the TV, I look over here. I'm like, and then I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, I'm only at 0.10 miles, and I thought I was in 3 miles already. So
Just gotta lock in.
Really, just play some good music. Occasionally, I'll play some Brandon Lake music from his like new album or something. So, I mean, he does sound great in concert, but yeah.
I need you to share the Brandon Lake concert that you told me about that you just went to here in Austin.
So him and Phil Wickham and do a start. I don't know when they started it, but they started a summer night of worship like a few years ago. And I didn't know like what music was going to be on the set list, right? Because usually a concert I go to is for the artist just released a new album. And he's going on tour soon, but when you go to a concert, right, is cool. It's a cool experience. But I think hearing some of those like worship songs and like the artists aren't singing, there's no drums playing, no guitar solo. It's just dead quiet, and almost every person in the audience is singing a worship song. I think that is it's a really cool thing, right? You can listen to that kind of song in your headphones, but listen to that with 15 to 20,000 people in a sold out show, I think is
just singing.
And you can tell like how that moved him. He was definitely bawling like a baby, because I mean, when you're in that environment with that many people, regardless if they're believers or not, singing these songs or just worshiping the Lord actually it's really cool. Also, that was on my bucket list to go see a Brandon Lake concert eventually, right?
Yeah. And didn't you say today that he was, or you told me he was like just kind of laying down on the stage listening to everything, or everybody singing, and he was just like, there was nobody playing, and
I can't remember the worship song, but yeah, it was towards the end of the set, and it was just they were all quiet. It was probably I can't remember what song it was, but it's one of the songs they play at every summer night of worship. But it's a powerful worship song in general. But just hearing the whole crowd, like you hear it where you hear the crowd at church, but imagine that with like 15,000 people actually just putting up, maybe not all of them, but most of them putting up their hands and giving it to the Lord. I think is really, really cool.
Yeah,
that's always cool. It was definitely very powerful and a huge experience. I recommend. They do it every summer in July, so if I didn't get a chance to see any other concert, they were in Houston, they were in Austin on Friday. So I mean, there's always they'll do it again next summer and everything.
Yeah,
and he's about to go on tour again.
Really check that out. My girlfriend Stacy went to it, and she goes, "It was so awesome." She goes, "I was so into it. I was just sweating."
Oh yeah, they were. They got some high energetic songs. I was hoping he would bring out Jelly Roll, because I know he did a song and that he brought in Jelly Roll and like secular artists, but like God's working on his heart, because they both did a song together called "Hard Fought Hallelujah," and I think it's a really good song. I don't know if anyone's listened to it. Y'all check it out, but it's a really good one. I think when you basically talking about in part of the song, when we haven't been faithful, but God still has been, I think it's a really good thing. And it's a good song when you're a Christian and you're trying not to do road rage, but you're also frustrated. Maybe the season you're in, you want to scream, but without the cursing. But there's parts of the song you can just kind of sing out loud. It's definitely really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so good. All right. One last question, and I think we need to wrap up for time's sake. So what would you say to listeners about the importance of having a personal relationship with Jesus Christ? Because that is sort of our ministry, and that's we're trying to bring people to Christ. And so just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, there's no money, there's no drugs, there's no porn, there's no nothing, there's no video game, there's no food, there's none of that can tap. I've tried that. I'm not perfect. I'm the most simple person God knows. But a relationship with Jesus is someone that would actually die for you. Have you ever had someone that would promise you something that, or your dad or your grandpa, like, I'll go take you to the store, go get that. We'll go to that trip that you look forward to. And they're like, oh, sorry, I have to go take that work call. That's not who Christ is. Every time he makes a promise to you, he fulfills it. But the closer you get to that promise to him, he's going to try to attack you and say, God's not going to come through. But why would you listen to someone that got kicked out of heaven? He got kicked out of heaven because of his own pride. And I think Jesus is someone that will always always be there. Even if people let you down, he doesn't. I think people need to, especially having that hope, really, especially in a time like this, and there's always negativity in the news or social media or TikTok's about to get shut down again in January. There's hope in Christ of like, even if that stuff shuts down, like there's a new phone every single year. There's a new pair of AirPods every other year. Christ is still the same yesterday, today, and forever. He doesn't see you for what you've done. He sees you for who you can be. I think that people need to see it, right? There's too much negativity. They need more of that, especially on Instagram and Twitter, where there's a lot of other stuff that should not be on social media, to say the least.
I get it. No, God will never disappoint. Jesus will never disappoint. Our Holy Spirit is in us to help us be better people. And I get so excited just about learning more about God, more about the Bible, in the Word, all of that. It is just so good because I can't wait for the next day. You know, it's so good.
Yeah, you would think, like, I've read James more times that I can count. Sometimes I'll be in a season where that's all I read is James 1. And you can read it so many different times, and then like once you get something different out of it, like it was right there, right? Like when you answer a math question, it's the same answer every single time. But then when you read certain scriptures again and again, it's like, oh, it's something completely different that actually blew my mind.
I understand that. I totally understand that. All right. Well, John, this has been an amazing conversation. We appreciate you being with us.
Sure.
And what do we want to say, Greg?
I guess I hope you enjoyed this show. That is our show for today. Visit the John Allcorn Show on YouTube. And what other platforms are you on?
Just YouTube. I deleted all social media because it honestly was addiction. I would be doom scrolling at 3 a.m. when I shouldn't. So it was, to be honest, that was an idol in my life. So just on YouTube for now.
All right.
Well, I just want to say, guys, check out John because the NFL is starting up. And I am so dang excited.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm thinking, how are we going to get a trip to Green Bay so we can go see the Packers?
I know. To me, look at my YouTube history. Like the NFL posted random highlights this offseason. I've looked at old games from the 80s or Brett Favre or Joe Montana. I mean, because you need sports, right? You need football.
He's so talented.
Yeah.
This guy is talented. He's into it. He can tell me stats, and I'm going, what? Wait,
but somehow I couldn't do math in high school. I don't. But even that's algebra. So
I know.
Algebra
but you can
is
do NFL like crazy. Yeah. All right. Anyway, you're amazing, and thank you for taking the time. And check us out at You Are Not Alone at You Are Not Alone with Debbie and Greg Gold at any podcast that you listen. You know, what we do, Apple Podcast. I mean, we do them all. So check us out. And then we do talk a lot about Jesus and how to have a relationship with him. And that's what we're all about. And then we have a website, You Are Not Alone at Debbie and Greg Gold. You know, just listen to us. Tell us what you think. Who should we have more? We want to have more guests. John is our first one. And this has been really awesome. And so, want to hear from you. All right.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right.